Hey everyone, and thanks for joining me as we head out and try to chase some trains. For today's trip, we'll start off in Seymour, Indiana, where we just barely catch a northbound CSX. Then we'll head south to Louisville and get to see the drawbridge in action. We'll follow that train back to Seymour and then see if we can catch it one more time before it gets too dark. First up, Seymour. This town is about 2 hours west of Cincinnati on US 50. It's where the CSX Indiana subdivision meets the Louisville and Indiana line. At one time, the Pennsylvania, the Baltimore and Ohio, and the Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Paul, and Pacific all came into Seymour. This is a spot I've wanted a Railfan for a while. I remember hearing about how the L&I, along with CSX, were rehabbing the line. New continuous welded rail, improvements to pretty much everything. Hold on, I think I see our train in the distance. While it heads towards us, notice the green signal facing us. That's for an electronically controlled switch for the CSX connection. We can see it's green until the locomotive enters the circuit. The last time I was here, it was lined for the diverging move onto the connection track and had an approach aspect displayed. I never heard it called the signal, but I believe this is Q688, a daily from Osborne Yard in Louisville to Avon Yard west of Indianapolis. I wasn't recording the scanner audio, but I did hear the electronic switch call out that it was normal as the train approached, which was pretty cool and my first time hearing. Seymour has seen an increase in traffic over the last few years. They're longer and faster than what the town had been used to. The changes are the result of a federally approved agreement between the Louisville and Indiana Railroad and CSX. CSX uses this line between Louisville and Indianapolis. A spokesman said it spent about $100 million to upgrade tracks, bridges, and signals along the 106-mile corridor. As the train clears, notice the signal is returned to a clear aspect, but just a second later, it goes back to the stop aspect. The project was announced in 2013 and approved by the Federal Surface Transportation Board in 2015. At the time, it was estimated to take around 7 years to complete the entire project between Louisville and Indianapolis. The company said it could run as many as 15 trains a day on the north-south route, but I haven't heard what that number currently is. The spokesman also said train length could nearly triple. It was finished ahead of schedule, and the more frequent, longer, faster trains started rolling through in December of 2018. We'll take a look around before heading south to Louisville. There is a really nice Railfan park here with plenty of space to sit and watch a train. There's a great C&O caboose on the other side of the park, and the paint is even still in pretty good shape. The diamond here is a one-way low-speed diamond or an owl's flange diamond. As we take a closer look, you can see the east-west CSX tracks rise up as they cross the north-south line. This design is supposed to minimize wear and tear to the busier line, but we can clearly see a little chunk that's been damaged from the wheels. I'm not sure how often anything heads west of here though, so this may not be needed anymore. CSX and the L&I are replacing their current signals with the new Darth Vader models. Sadly for the CSX tracks, this means those beautiful color position lights are not long for this world. While I was taking some pictures, another photographer came up and started talking to me. He asked if I'd seen the John Mellencamp mural. I said no, and then he said, well, you have to go see it. Turns out it was only about 2 blocks away. Sure enough, it was quite a mural. I knew Mellencamp was from Indiana, but I didn't know this was the small town he was talking about. Pretty cool and worth the 5-minute walk. Well, now let's head south to Louisville and see what we can find. I didn't realize just how great my timing was. As I pulled up, I could see a massive barge just starting to go under the bridge. This was awesome. Forgive the poor drone work. I was excited to catch this scene, but also worried about those power lines right in front of the drone. From the ground, I thought I was clear of them, but as I inched closer, I realized I need to get just a little bit higher. The barge had barely cleared the bridge when I heard another beautiful sound. The bridge is normally in the raised position, so that siren meant it was going to be lowering and a train would be coming across. The last video I made here, I sped up the movement of the bridge going down. This time, I think I'll just let it go at its normal speed to show you how long it takes. As we take a closer look, we can see the massive bridge being inched lower and lower with the counterweight system. And if you notice, the light that was flashing green for river traffic on the bottom of the bridge, now it's a steady red. We can also see the counterweights starting to rise on the ends of the bridge. Now we see the control tower for the bridge come into view. They keep track of trains and all river vessels through GPS as they approach the signal here, so they know whether to raise or lower the bridge. Here's a look through the drawbridge, and now look northbound from it. And if you're curious, this is what the original swing bridge looked like before being replaced. Of course, I spent too much time flying around and needed to change the battery in my drone. We can see what I believe is Q352 in the very top of your screen. We can see the barge just hanging out there still in the shot. I assume it's waiting for another ship to clear Louisville's bridges before it tries to thread the needle. This is a short train, just 38 racks. Now let's jump to a video I shot earlier this summer from the Indiana side of this bridge. I wasn't sure, but I thought that I saw the massive counterweights from the drawbridge in the air. I know that that means the span is in place for a train to cross. So I hurried up and got my camera set up and hit record. This first view shows us the engine as it's coming out of the middle of the span over the Ohio River. We can then see a few other views of the train as it slowly creeps across the bridge. I got my drone up shortly after and sent it on its way to see if we could catch any of the trains still on the drawbridge. This must have been a local because it was only a few thousand feet long and it cleared by the time I got there. But still pretty cool to see trains crossing these massive structures. Back to our original video. We're going to go back to Seymour and try to catch this as it makes the turn towards Cincinnati. Now we're going to try to catch this train one more time, but as you can see, we're running out of daylight. This line was originally built from Cincinnati to St. Louis by the Ohio and Mississippi Railroad in 1857. The Baltimore and Ohio Southwestern Railroad acquired the O&M in 1893. Part of it currently runs along US 50. While driving, I used the speed limit signs as more of a suggestion and did my best to get ahead of the train. I stopped in Holton where I knew there was a color position light. It wasn't lit up, now I was worried I'd miss the train. Plus, the light was fading fast, and I debated whether or not I should just call it a day. But then, off in the distance, I heard a train horn. The signal still wasn't lit up though, but this had to be our train. With the drone in the sky, we can barely make out the headlight pop into view. And now look, the signal's lit up with a clear aspect. I really do love these CPL signals. We'll follow as the train makes its way toward us. This is sped up 8 times. I think we may have just enough light left to get it. As we look from the drone, we can see it knock down the signal, but it takes a moment for it to switch from the clear signal. This would be the last time we see this train though, but it sure was fun. I know CSX recently upgraded this line as well, but hopefully they'll leave these signals around for a while. As it goes off into the distance, I've still got about an hour drive ahead of me. Well, I hope you enjoyed another Railfan trip with me. As always, feel free to let me know where you like to Railfan. I do have another video or two in the works. Next time we'll check out Baltimore. We'll take a look at the Howard Street Tunnel, which limits CSX stack trains to single stack containers. And I'm still working on a video to Bellevue, Ohio, and the Norfolk Southern Mormon Yard. I hope to get those out within the next several weeks. Well, until our next trip, I hope you have a great day.